Hello everyone. In last video, we have covered some definitions under the Juvenile Justice Act 2015. So let's continue some other definitions and general principles under this act. Section 2, subsection 33 of the act defines heinous offences. Heinous offences includes the offences for which the minimum punishment under the Indian Penal Code or any other law for the time being in force is imprisonment for 7 years or more. So, heinous offences are those offences for which the punishment is 7 years or above under the IPC. For example, under the Indian Penal Code, the punishment for committing murder is imprisonment for life. So, the offence murder is considered as an heinous offence. So, those offences which are mentioned under the Indian Penal Code or any other law where the punishment for that offence is imprisonment for 7 years or more is called as an heinous offence. And the next definition is observation home. Observation home means an observation home established and maintained in every district or group of district by the state government, either by itself or through a voluntary or non-governmental organization, and is registered as such. So, it is a place where the child in conflict with law is placed until the trial and order is passed by the Juvenile Justice Board. So, till that period, the child in conflict with law is placed in the observation home for the safety and protection of the child, and also to prevent the apprehension of the child. And the place will be in a child friendly manner, and they also provide for counseling, rehabilitation, and the safety protection, and also provides all the basic necessities for a child. And the next definition is juvenile. Juvenile means a child below the age of 18 years. So here juvenile in general means those child in conflict with law. The only difference between children which we have understood in the last class is that the children have a broader scope. It covers all those kind of children who are in conflict with law and also who need care and protection. But juvenile means only those children who are below the age of 18 years and who have committed any offense or in conflict with law. And the next definition is orphan. Orphan means a child who is without biological or adoptive parents or any legal guardian, or whose legal guardian is not willing to take or capable of taking care of the child. So, a child who is without any parents or legal guardian, or there is a legal guardian but they are not willing to or they are not able to take care of the child, then in that cases that child is called as an orphan. And the next definition is petty offences. So, petty offences includes the offences for which the maximum punishment under the Indian Penal Code or any other law for the time being in force is imprisonment up to 3 years. So, those offences for which the Indian Penal Code prescribes imprisonment for up to 3 years are called as petty offences. So, for example, under Indian Penal Code, for committing theft, a person can be punished with imprisonment up to 3 years. So, theft comes under the definition of petty offense. Or any other law specifies any offences for which the punishment is imprisonment up to 3 years, those offences also comes under this definition. And the next is serious offences. So, serious offences includes offences for which punishment under the Indian Penal Code or any other law for the time being in force is between 3 to 7 years. So, for heinous offences, the imprisonment is up to 7 years or more. For petty offences, the imprisonment is up to 3 years. And for serious offences, it is between 7 to 3 years. So, those offences mentioned under the Indian Penal Code or any other laws which states that committing an act is an offence with imprisonment between 3 to 7 years is called as a serious offence. For example, under IPC, if a person commits assault or uses criminal force against a woman, for these, the maximum punishment shall be 5 years. So, these offences come under the definition of serious offences. And the next subsection is specialized adoption agency. It means an institution established by the state government or by a voluntary or non governmental organization and recognized under Section 65 for housing orphans, abandoned, and surrendered children placed there by order of committee for the purpose of adoption. So, specialized adoption agency is a place in which the child in need of care and protection, that is, they can be either orphans, abandoned child, or surrendered child. So those children are kept in the specialized adoption agency for the purpose of adoption. And the next definition is surrendered child. Surrendered child means a child who is relinquished by the parent or guardian to the committee on account of physical, emotional, or social factors beyond their control and declared as such by the committee. So, those children whose parents or guardians cannot take care of the child and left the child to the committee due to any physical, emotional, or social factors, then in that cases the child is said as a surrendered child. So these are some of the important definitions under the Act. Now let us understand the general principles of care and protection under Section 3. So these are the general principles which shall be followed by the Juvenile Justice Board and also in the process of adoption of a child in need of care and protection. So in both the cases, that is during the trial inquiry of the child in conflict with law and also during the adoption process and providing any facilities to the child in need of care and protection. So section 3 provides the principles that shall be followed in both the cases. So the first principle is principle of presumption of innocence. So children under the age of 18 years shall be presumed innocent of any wrongdoing. So if any child have committed any offense, then he shall be treated as innocent because they are immature of the consequences and also they do not know what is wrong and what is right. So they are treated as innocent though they have committed any wrong. This is the first principle. And the second is principle of dignity and worth. So all human beings shall be treated with equal dignity and rights. So all human beings include children also. So any children committing an offense shall also be treated with equal dignity and they shall be given equal rights such as the right to appoint a pleader for their case and also all the rights which an adult have. And the next is principle of participation. Every child has the right to be heard and participate in the decisions affecting their interests considering their age and maturity. So every child, whether a CCL or CCP, their opinions shall be taken into consideration. So in case of child in conflict with law, if a child has committed any of the offences, then it is the duty of the board, that is the Juvenile Justice Board, shall know the reasons and circumstances under which the child has committed such offense. So the child needs to be heard and he or she shall be included in the decisions made by the Juvenile Justice Board or also in the cases of the child in need of care and protection. So any decisions taken by the Child Welfare Committee, in that cases also the child shall be heard and shall be included in the decision making process. And the next point is best interest. The decisions regarding children must prioritize their best interests and support their full potential. So any child who have committed an offense, instead of sending them into jail, they shall be sent to counseling and the board shall focus on the best way possible to reform the child. And in cases of child in need of care and protection, if a child is protected from any place of work which is hazardous in nature to children, so that child shall be provided with basic education facilities, food, shelter, etc. So in the best way possible, the child shall be protected. And the next is family responsibility. The primary responsibility for caring and protecting the child lies with their biological family or adoptive or foster parents. If a child committing an offense shall not be directly sent to the observation homes or special homes. So, observation homes or special homes are those places where a child in conflict with law is sent for their rehabilitation. But according to this principle, the primary care shall be with the biological family or adoptive or foster parents. So, if a child have committed any offense, he shall be given counseling and shall be sent back to their family, as family have the primary responsibility of a child. And the next is safety. So, safety measures must be taken to ensure child's safety and protect them from harm or abuse while in care and protection system. So, a child sent to an observation home or special home shall be kept safely from other children, preventing any abuse or bullying by any other child. So, the board shall take all the measures to ensure the child's safety. And the next principle is positive measures. All resources, including family and community support, should be utilized to promote a child's well being and reduce vulnerabilities. So, this means that instead of punishing a child, he shall be reformed by counselings by the board. For example, let's say if a child has been convicted under any cyber offences, then he shall be counselled in a way that his skills shall be used in a positive way. And the next principle is non stigmatizing semantics. Avoid using adversarial or accusatory language when dealing with a child. So, according to this principle, a child, if have committed any crime, he shall not be called using the names of accused or criminal. He shall be called, as we know that a child who have committed an offense shall be called as child in conflict with law. And in cases of a child who is abandoned or trafficked, shall not be called by these names. Instead, we use the term child in need of care and protection. And the next principle is non waiver of rights. No one can waive a child's rights, and the non exercise of a fundamental right does not amount to a waiver. So, a child, if he has not exercised his right due to the non awareness or by any other reasons, if a child has not exercised his right, that does not mean that his fundamental right is waived off. That is, his fundamental rights are being removed. For example, so a juvenile can appoint a lawyer on behalf of him. So, right to free legal aid is a fundamental right. So, though the child does not know about it and have not exercised or accessed that right, that does not mean that his right for appointing the lawyer will be removed. So, according to this principle, though the child does not ask for his right, he shall be provided with what the fundamental right is. And the next principle is equality and non-discrimination. A children cannot be discriminated against based on factors such as gender, caste, ethnicity, disability, etc. And they should have equal access and treatment. For example, a girl child is an orphan, so she shall be given equal opportunity as that of a boy without any discrimination for adoption. And the next principle is right to privacy and confidentiality. Every child has right to privacy and confidentiality throughout the legal processes. So, if a juvenile is taken into custody, then the news about it shall not be published in newspapers or TV channels. It shall be private and confidential, because as the child is only treated as innocent, and again he shall be sent back to the society after he has been rehabilitated. And the next principle is institutionalization as a last resort. Placing a child in institutional care should be the last resort after a reasonable inquiry, as we have understood in the previous principle that the family of a child shall be first or primarily responsible for the child's care. So, institutional care, such as children's home or an observation home or special homes, the institutional care shall be the last resort. So, for example, if a child who is an orphan is placed in an institution such as a children home, so the child welfare committee shall make all possible ways to give the child for adoption and send them to a family. And the next principle is repatriation, and restoration. Children in juvenile justice system have the right to be reunited with their family and restored to their previous socio-economic and cultural status unless it's not in their best interest. So, after a child convicted under any offense and completing a certain period of time under rehabilitation shall be reunited with their families. So, the juvenile justice system main focus is to rehabilitate the children and send back the children to restart their normal life. And the next is fresh start. So, past records of children in juvenile justice system should generally be erased except in special circumstances. So, the records of the children, the offenses they have committed, and any other details of the juveniles who have committed any offenses, so their records shall be removed and erased so that they can start a new life. And the next is diversion. Measures to deal with children in conflict with law without resorting to judicial proceedings should be promoted unless it's in the best interest of the child or the society. So, a child who has been convicted shall not be sent to the normal courts and the proceedings which a criminal court undergoes. So, the trial, inquiries, the chief and cross examinations, so all these proceedings shall be avoided and they shall be treated and inquired in a different way. And the last principle is natural justice, basic procedural fairness standards, including the rights to fair hearing, impartiality, and the right to review, must be upheld by all individuals or bodies acting in a judicial capacity under this Act. So, the principles of natural justice shall be followed by the board while conducting any inquiry. The major principles are the right to fair hearing, impartiality, and right to review. So, all the basic principles of natural justice shall be followed by all those bodies acting under judicial capacity. So, it could be the Juvenile Justice Board or the Child Welfare Committee or any other bodies which are acting under judicial capacity shall follow the principles of natural justice. So, these are the general principles which shall be followed in the proceedings while dealing with both the child in need of care and protection and also the child in conflict with law. So, that's all in this video. I hope you all have understood it. Thank you.